Hello, my friend, my YouTube friend. Welcome to Simply Draw. I'm Elaine, and I'm going to try my best to cope with my new setup here so that we can successfully sketch out this little silver eye. I have my camera with an elastic attached to two pieces of wood which are velcroed to a little tripod on this table that is full of like holes and whatnot. But you know what? We just work with what we've got. So thank you for joining me today. This is a terrific photo of a little silver eye by Robert Pyne, and I didn't really research them, but what I think is that there are tiny little birdies in Australia. So it's actually probably no bigger than a warbler, but that's all right. The size of the photo has never stopped me from drawing a monster bird in the past. So this is a big photo, and I'll probably end up with a big picture, but I'm so restricted with my little space where I have to draw, and I'm going to try not to hit the tripod, and it could be interesting. I'm shutting up now. So you know that you've got to get your pen and a scrap piece of paper, and we're gonna get started. I like this photo for a whole bunch of reasons, but I also really like the pose. And what I was thinking about, you guys, a little while ago is that when we practice sketching these birds in different poses and stuff, then we can get good at just like doing the outline and putting in the eye, and then we've got a bird that's a sketch that's a different angle rather than just the traditional, like it's on its side with the tail sticking out the bottom. I don't know. I'm rambling because I'm nervous, as usual. Okay, so by this time, for sure you're organized. So I just want to start right here at this. This is actually like a little peak, because see how these are actually feathers, believe it or not. It's not like a paint job. So these white feathers, these are the white feathers here. So there's actually like a little, oh God. So the other thing is, make sure you don't start too close to the edge so that you've got space for his tail and everything else. I'm not paying attention here to what I'm gonna do. So if I start here and then the angle, maybe I better move it over a little bit. But this is where I want to start. Just go up like around his eye, and then we've got a curve for the top of his head. So it goes flats a little bit. And then these feathers here on the side of his head. And then it goes out to his shoulder. Now, I actually have this photo as the wallpaper on my computer. So see this space right here? We're leaving that blank. These are actually little tiny white fluffy feathers that are breaking up his body line here. And we are going to leave that out, because I think it always looks super cool when you have your sketch and there's like blank spaces and stuff like that. Am I getting ahead of myself here by doing his tummy? Maybe. Let's go back and do the other part. This is pretty flat here with his eye, and then it goes out for his head, and then his wing. Now push this out, you guys. If you're like me, you have a tendency to draw it too far down, so he's too straight, but his back is actually going out and away from us. So we want to draw that out and away from us, and it's okay if it's exaggerated. Some little bumps for the feathers, and this is the corner here, and then we're going to do another bump for these feathers for his wing and a point, and it comes in. Now let's see how far off we are with all our spacing here. This doesn't come in as far. Do you have a pen that you like today? These fluffy feathers under his bum and then down to his leg, and then fluffy feathers a little bit messy under his tummy, and then the other foot here. You can obviously start wherever you like, because the photos, like of kind of like zooming in, it's a lot more important that you see the reference than myself and my little doodles on my paper. Not really going with any rhyme or reason today. I couldn't believe that a month had gone by between now and when I posted my last video. It's not what I had intended at all, but that's the way it is. Oh, okay. I can hear the guys next door. I don't know if you can, but I sure can. I think I'm a little confused with this part here, but anyway, if it's totally screwed up, I can delete this video and start again. So the bumpy toes, super long claws, doing the dark between the toes. Try not to hit the leg of the tripod. I'm just trying to get in some of the dark areas. It's all very confusing with the different folds in the skin and the toes and the claws and the wood and everything else. And if you hang on with me for the whole video, I will say that I think this is going to be a long one, and to me that's okay, because I'll tell you a little secret. I saw something pop up on my feed about someone else who was sketching a bird, and she did a lovely job. And it was I think it was a little house wren, I don't remember. And she had done the sketching first and then did the voiceover on top. And I did, even though it was kind of short. What? No, that's not what I want to say. What I want to say is that the video was actually pretty long, but it was interesting because I thought the entire piece was rushed. The way she was talking about how she sketched it out and did this and that. And I felt that if I was following along, it would have been too hurried for me to actually do what she was doing. So let's just pick some parts a little higher up. Look at how look at this confusing angle with the bill. Isn't that great? And not afraid. Let's go and do some dark lines. Gosh, I don't know what those guys are talking about. They're just supposed to be getting some trees down next door. Do this marking that goes into the eye. It's nice and dark here. It's down. Be sure to turn your page so that it's easy for you. I'm just trying to not move mine around right now so that I can just not risk hitting the camera or the table or anything else. Gosh, these white feathers around the eye are just so well defined. This is kind of like lighter. I think his forehead needs to be a little, it's just a little higher here. A little bit bigger. Okay, so this is the white. Maybe take that in a little bit. And I'm just using these short pen strokes rather than the back and forth. Sort of get the direction of the feathers and stuff. Well, it looks like he's been caught in a windstorm right now, but anyway. Color in a little bit of the gray on the bill. It's cool how it's all like such a confusing angle, you know? It's a really great photograph. Okay, let's take this down a little bit more. Keep this light under his throat. Okay, this goes up, over and around, back, and I just have this little bit thicker back here. Okay, how about we do our border for these yellow feathers? There's a little bit of a break here underneath his chin. Okay, now what do you want to do next? How about we do this band of darker feathers under our yellow border? Okay, so just keep with those individual pen strokes. This border, not too thick. Just want to have some definition between the yellow and this little, it's like a collar. And it goes all the way up to his shoulder here. And let's lengthen them a little bit here. Looks like a breastplate. Stay away from the edge. Okay. Now, let's do this kind of, these darker feathers down here. His chest feathers are all just kind of like a bit ruffled. The fuzzy little birdie. Just get some definition in on his chest, and then we'll do this darker patch down here too. That's by his leg. I like this pen. It's not nearly as blotchy and uncooperative as the others that I've been using. Okay. Sucks that I did a line. Remind me not to do that next time. I'm just gonna have our pen marks, no lines. We're better than that. Or we're past it, I should say. Okay. Now, see how these, the lighter feathers are laying, like basically showing on top of his back. So what we want to do is color in the dark part, and we're going to have our line jagged. When we do a jagged line, it's going to show that the feathers on top are blocking the dark background. So just do this. We're going to color this in. It's a really nice kind of darkish olive green. So keep this line ragged, okay? And we can always, let's see, how do we want to, let's get ourselves oriented here. See this bump of feathers laying here, you guys? So go from that bottom one and just do some of the darker shadows where he's got those layers, just so that we know kind of like where we are. And then, so it's a little bit lighter. And then on top, that part is darker. So let's do our darker parts on top. And there are some feathers that are kind of going this direction. Now, not too far away from this dark part. Okay, let's do this shadow here. Oh, that's down quite a bit, isn't it? Okay, let's go here. Let's get some of these dark borders in here. And then let's take this dark shadow all the way up into his body. Like that. Let's do, see the wing is casting a shadow under here. Okay, keep this jagged too, you guys. Get the impression of these feathers of his body. Okay, now we know where we are. Okay, so from here, this is right here, and we're going to have our jagged coloring going up this way. And then just fill that in with your pen. Not even, right? Because he's got all these different shades and shadows and stuff, but just kind of do it like this. And then we've got the feathers that kind of go in and on top, and then we'll just do a little bit more of these feathers on curving around on his body. And actually, see how these feathers are curving as part of his body, and then these are his bum feathers. I don't have that in mine yet, so make sure you've got some of his bum feathers in there. Keep the edge jagged, and then we can do the shading under the wing. As long as it's not all like even and pretty, should be okay. Jeepers, let's not forget his tail. It's kind of lighter, this part. It's either his coloring or it's the way the sun is catching. This border is pretty defined where these feathers are, this part of the wing. So at least we can do that. We've got some heavy wing borders, and then some heavy wing borders here. I don't know what I'm talking about, you guys. I don't know if it's shadow. I don't know if they're the edges of the feathers that are dark. But anyway. And then we'll just make our jagged line in here. Coloring in his olive back. And this band of feathers seems to be like a little bit darker. Now the good thing with this method is like if we don't have this angle right, what we do is we move the dark up more so that we can change it. Let's put in his tail before I completely forget. So it kind of starts right at this bump here and comes out. So let's do this. And lots of free-flowing, loose kind of messy feathers, not all nicely lined up. And see how this bottom feather is kind of lining up with the bottom part of the wing. So that's something that we can do. Now, this is probably shadow, as the tail feathers have curled and are under one another. So let's just get some darkness in here. It does look like it's a little bit olive too. I don't know what this little bump is, but we're putting it in. Okay, now this wingtip has a dark edge. So that's a line that's allowed to be in there, okay? And then we've got his little bum feathers. So let's just deepen up some of the shading under his bum. Keep this ragged. And we're looking at the dark part, you guys. Not the light. That's what's so tricky. Good brain workout. Okay, do you have a look at your sketch? How's your angle here? Do you need to change it? For me, I do. I want to take this in more especially up here. Not a lot. Okay. And, oh, I just kicked the table. Maybe my sketch looks better when it's shaky. Let's just go all the way around. Uh-oh, see? Should have done, this is like too heavy. Oh, bummer. Let's just take our time and go all around him again and make him look super great and super cute and super pretty. All we had to do is just take our time and just spend a little bit more time on him. We're going to deepen up some of the shading. Make sure we've got good contrast. Just take our time. And we'll go back and fix his feet too. Darken up his tummy a little bit, especially where the feathers are a little bit jumbled, where his leg goes. I didn't even bother checking to see how far out I was with the positions and proportions and stuff. I'm guessing there were some errors. Okay, so how do I want to fix the yellow? I want the yellow to be nice and bright, and then some of the darker contrast coming in underneath his chin. A bit darker here, darker a little bit around his eye, the side of his head. And then this collar, there should be kind of like a better, blend between the yellow and that darker collar. I hope my hand's not blocking too much of what you're actually wanting to work on, if you're just doing your own thing, which you should be. Okay, so I just want to do a better job. Just go around here, and then it kind of lightens a little bit there. And then it's almost like this little fold underneath the center of his breast, and then this color comes out a little bit more dark on this side. Okay, so these feathers kind of are coming down like this and out this way. I can't believe I did a line when I was sketching him. Silly. Darken up his tummy a little bit, only in spots. Okay, major. Let's like totally fix the leg. I just want to no more nonsense here. Do the dark part where and then do some of these darker shadows and folds and gray, and where the toes are all curled and coming around. This toe at the back. This is the toe at the back. And shade part of the twig. It's too fat here. And this foot, dark underneath, but dark on top. Toe at the back. This is all light. We're just gonna. I shouldn't have done this part when I was like not really focusing. Just thinking more about you guys than I was about what I was doing. So that kind of sucks. And then this toe is at this angle going around the actual part of the branch. And this is a branch that's underneath and bending. It's probably just like a little twig because he's a tiny little birdie. This is exactly what the branches look like in Australia. Okay, darker underneath. And darker where his foot goes. And this toe kind of curls around like that. Okay. Now, let's just this is okay here. So do you like the border where you've got his wing and his coming into his body here? Change that angle if you don't like it. Oh, see, you guys, I did too much coloring. I should have the white down more, sticking out more. And we've got this border of feathers like this, and then this section of the wing is distinct like that, and then this lower part of the wing with these feathers here. We've got shading underneath to show the curve of his body. Let's get some color in the tail. A little bit more. And I don't particularly like, he needs to be more rounded here in my sketch with his head. So I just want to take this out. See how it's rounded here, and then it comes to his shoulder. I don't have that in my sketch. So I want to have it rounded like that a little bit more. And then I just want to change his shoulder a little bit. And these dark, and then we've got our gap where we've got the, oh, you guys, I can't believe I did this stupid line here. You're probably thinking, like, what's the big deal? The entire sketch is lines, but, you know, not an outline. Japers. Well, what do you think of yours? Is it kind of okay? See, I think mine, he has to have a bigger tummy. Let's pull some feathers down and fix that up if yours is the same. We can just darken this here because it kind of shows the curve of his body and the way of the light. Is catching him. I don't know, kind of like a rough start, but can't believe how badly I screwed up the leg. Well, there's always something, right? I think the reference photo, Birdie, is wider than what I've drawn. And no, I'm not going to measure him. This is good. You can put his shoulder out a bit more. Take these out a little bit more. I like his collar. I'll have to ask Thing 2 if this is good enough for the wall. Well, one thing's for sure, I'm certainly enjoying your company. What do you think, you guys? Think the foot's a mess? Too wide here. Wasn't paying attention enough here. His leg should be more narrow. His leg's nice and fat. I don't know. For hanging out with you guys, to me, it's been worth it. Boy, I could just keep going and keep going. I need a little bit more definition under his chin. I don't think I did a great job with the eye. I guess that means I'll have to practice by doing more videos. Oh, it's gonna go on for years. Okay, you guys. How about we just kind of call it quits at this, and I'll say thank you for joining me. And I hope that your picture turned out pretty good. Something that you're happy with. So, thanks for your company. I will see you next time. I was thinking we should do a hummingbird. Lots of hummingbirds coming to the feeder these days. Okay, enough dicking around. See you next time.